up, book nerds? My name is Hillary and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my top 10 books of 2023. Now it is the end of November, so the books that I read in December of this year, I will be doing those next year for best books of 2024. I'm trying to get things filmed early so I have videos for you done. But this year, I had 17 5-star reads, and I'm pretty happy with that. I don't always give out 5 stars just because a book has to blow me away, make me cry, make me think, make me sit there after the book and be like, what did I just read? Type of thing. And these books are the ones who did it, and one of them is a completed series that I finished this year, and the rest are, a lot of them are standalones or in the process of being written for the whole series. So I have 2 honorable mentions in this list, and the first one is a Kindle Unlimited book by Nikki Harris called Curvy 13, and this one I really enjoyed. It was a short read. I love that they used a curvy girl for the main character, and that she is one of those that puts her whole life on Instagram, but she is called for jury duty for a guy who is being accused of essaying a underage person. And so the brothers of this guy end up sneaking into her apartment, and the one brother R-words her. I have to watch what I say because of YouTube. But then he says he's going to stay there until the end of the trial, and he wants her to vote not guilty for the brother. And she's having a hard time with this, but as she's going on, she's realizing that, like, maybe the brother didn't do it. So it's very good. The ending was definitely a cliffhanger. The second book's coming out on the 30th of November, and I can't wait to read that and see what I think of it. And I'm hoping it all comes together. And it is a reverse harem story, so it's just even that much better, and it's a spicy read. So I really enjoyed this book, and it is my first honorable mention. My second honorable mention is one that has a lot of trigger warnings for the book. It deals with a lot of mental health, and it talks about ending your life. And that book is Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. This one really was so well done. I really enjoyed it. If you don't know, so this is about a girl named Charlotte, and every Valentine's Day she meets up with this boy on a rooftop, and it is both of their birthdays. And the one year she is late getting there, and he ends up jumping off the building, and she is just torn about it. They both were deciding that they were going to off themselves the night that they met, and it just changed everything. But then she goes and meets his brother, and a romance starts developing, and she finds out more about the guy who she was friends with, and she started having feelings for him, and they call her Venom, and it's just, I really enjoyed this book. I want to reread it because it was that good, but everything, I don't think the brother knows who she was when he met her, and it all goes from there. I really enjoyed this. Check for trigger warnings before you read this because it was a phenomenal book, and I do plan on rereading it this next year. Now we're going to get into my top 10 books of 2023, and the first one is a thriller. I really enjoyed this, and that is The Housemaid's Secret. I was so shocked on everything that happened in this book. I didn't see anything coming that was happening. And if you don't know, The Housemaid's Secret is the second book to The Housemaid, which I also read this year. And it follows the same character from the first book, and she is at this apartment sitting and taking care of this place, but little things start happening, people start disappearing, and it's all of a the rich always win type of thing. And the way that it ended was just like shocking to me. And I do believe that this author, Frida McFadden, has a third book coming out for this, with this book, I'm pretty sure, and which comes out this next year. I want to read all of her backlist because I really enjoyed The Housemaid, but I just like The Housemaid's Secret a little bit better. And yeah, it was just phenomenally written and kept me not knowing what was going to happen or why people were disappearing and all that. Number 9 comes in as a book or a series that some people don't like because of the way it's written. And I understand that. Like, the first 3 books, you're just starting to get into the book. Especially the first one's very, very YA written. But as you're going along in this story, this book really started getting more and more into the story, and you're finding out more of what's happening. And that book is Court by Tracy Wolff. This is about a girl named, I'm really bad with names, Grace, that's her name. And she is at this school for paranormal, and which have witches, dragons, werewolves, vampires, and all this. And she is mated to Jackson. But things happen throughout the series, and back comes Jackson's brother, Hudson, who Grace is actually mated to. And this book really brings everything together. It's more hyped up. There's a lot more action in it. And you get to know Hudson a lot more in this book than you do all the other ones. You just hear little snippets about him. But I really love this book and need to read the last book in the series just to figure out what happens and just have it all come together. But yeah, I really love this book and will reread this series sometime in the future because it was just so good. Coming in at number 8 is a romance book, and this one is by an author or a set of authors that I really, really like, and I really enjoy their books. And this was one of their older books that came out years ago, but I finally read it, and that is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is about a girl named Macy who is on her way to becoming a nurse. She's working in a pediatrician's office, and she's on her way to planning her wedding, and she ends up running into her first love from childhood, and his name is Elliot. And the whole meaning behind this book is first loves never die, and this book just brings that all together. You see their turmoil, what happened between them, what she's thinking now, and how he's still in love with her and everything. It was just so heartwarming, and I really enjoyed it. I loved every aspect of it and want to just reread this so bad because it was a quick read. I read it, I think, in like a day or two. And that's the one thing I like about Christina Lauren's books, is that you can just eat them up and get them read so fast because they are easy reads. They're not ones that, like a fantasy, where you have to focus on the surroundings, the world building and everything. But yeah, I loved this book and need to read more Christina Lauren's backlist. This next book is a thriller, and I've read it. This is the only book from my book club with my mom and my sister-in-law that made this list. This book was phenomenal. I mean, that ending really got me, and I couldn't have asked for a better book. This one is a thriller, and the one that I'm talking about is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. This is about a woman who is in a mental institution and does not speak because of what happened to her husband. And you're going through this book trying to figure out what actually happened to her husband and you're guessing, oh, it's this guy, it's this one. But wait, it's not. Crazy scenario. But then you have this doctor that comes in, or a reporter, one of the two, and he takes on the wife of the guy who was murdered, and he's trying to figure out her story, what happened and everything. And that twist at the end, I was just like, oh, no way. And my mom and sister-in-law, we all gave it 5 stars. We all were shocked. And I want to read The Maidens by Alex Michaelides because this one was so good. And I've heard that one's even better. So yeah, this one definitely is what's going to make this list this year because I still can't stop thinking about it. Coming in at number 6 is another romance. This one is kind of like Love in Other Words, but a little different. And that book is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This one is the same thing of Love in Other Words, except it's a little different. So you're watching these two main characters in the present, and they go back to the past of when they met and fell in love and everything that happened. But in the present, the girl is back in town for a funeral, and she has to face the facts of everything that happened between her and her first love. And a lot of the things are shocking in this book. I didn't see coming. And I really liked the past parts of seeing her as a kid and her and him starting out their friendship and him trying to teach her to become a runner. And when she's not actually a runner, she's a swimmer. And you see her with the two brothers, and the family becomes closer, and she becomes like best friends with the brothers, and she becomes like a daughter to their mom. And it was just so heartwarming. I cried at the end of this because it is so sad on everything that happens, but it really shows me that love really does exist out there. I mean, I am married, so I know, but reading it in books is just so refreshing, and that's the one thing why I love this book so much. Number 5 is one that absolutely made me bawl my eyes out while reading this book, and that is why it was a 5-star read for me, because if a book can make me cry like this one did, it deserves the 5 stars. No, it deserves the 6 stars, because I'm not a type of person that cries a lot, and this one just broke me. And that book is Underneath the Sycamore Tree by B. Celeste. This is about a girl who lost her twin sister to a disease, and so her mom is having trouble grieving this, so she goes to live with her dad and her new stepmom and her stepbrother, and she's starting out at the school. Her and the stepbrother start to become close, and they fall in love, but little do you know, she has the same sickness. She's still grieving her sister's death and trying to come to terms with having this sickness that her sister had, and knowing that she has to leave basically her parents with no kids, and that is just heartbreaking. And when you get to the part where she inevitably dies, because that's the whole point of the book, it's just sad. You can go into this book knowing she's going to die and you're still going to cry because of the love story that happens, especially because the son is so angry and she just kind of changes him and everything that happens, and it's just one of those that will live in my mind rent-free for a long time, because I'm a type 1 diabetic. I have an autoimmune disease, and it scares me to death every day. I couldn't imagine dying and leaving my family without a daughter, a wife, a mom, and that's the sad part of it. Number 4 is coming in as the last book to this series, and I loved how it wrapped up, and this author to me can do no wrong in her books, and that book is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This one was a big book for me to get through. It is almost 1,000 pages long. Absolutely loved it. You have war and people dying, especially characters that you fall in love with, over the other 6 books that happen to be in this series. And everything that happens during this book, especially the stuff that happens at the beginning of this book with Selena and all that, is just mind-blowing. And you're watching her deal with this, and you're watching her mate and all this deal with that, and you're watching her get rescued. And I love these books because the main character, who is a girl, is not one that is a damsel in distress. She is a strong warrior, and I absolutely love that during this book. And you get so many different points of views in this book that, oh, you just fall in love with every character. And I am so glad it wrapped up the way it did, but I am sad. And the fact that Sarah J. Maas, this is the only series that she has completed, and she has 14 books out, and this is the only series she has finished, is crazy. And then her new book is coming out in January, which I'm so excited for. But yeah, this one is definitely a no-brainer on why it is number 4, and we'll plan on rereading this series maybe next year or maybe the year after. Coming in at number 3 is a memoir. This one was so sad. The stuff that this actress went through growing up was crazy. And that book is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. If you don't know, Jennette McCurdy played on iCarly and Sam and Cat on Nickelodeon, and you're going through her life from before she was acting and what her family dynamic was to when she got into acting and everything she went through. What her mom put her through was ridiculous. I mean, I annotated the crap out of this book, and I just can't believe, as a mom, what she did to her daughter. Made her have ED and take all this pills and drink coffee and stay skinny and everything. In my opinion, the mom should have had the kid taken away a long time ago. And this is just so sad. And then everything she went through on Nickelodeon was heartbreaking. These are the types of memoirs that I absolutely love reading, is getting into the actual personal lives of actors and actresses or people who are on reality shows. And this one was definitely a 5-star, probably halfway through the book, even if not before that, because my jaw was just dropping on the floor reading a bunch of the stuff that she went through. Number 2 is one that I was not sure I was going to absolutely love this book, because I've never read a book by this author, but I heard great things about this. And he has another series that I want to read, but I started the series. The first book is my favorite so far. I've read the first 2 and love the romance in it. And that book is Wolfsong by T.J. Klune. If you don't know, Wolfsong is about wolves. And this family moves down the street from, Ox's family. They own the house down the street. Ox has lived in this other house for years. And all of a sudden, this family moves in, and he starts to become part of the family. He finds out that the family are wolves, and that the guy who is basically his dad growing up, or acted like his dad, is a witch. So it's a lot of paranormal, and you watch Ox come to terms with them being wolves, and he doesn't care, and the battle that happens, and the romance that happens, and oh, it's so good. I loved it. And like, the writing was just so flawless. It was so beautiful. I could not put this book down. It was that good. I just ate it all up when I was reading it. And when the wolves leave, you see what Ox goes through as he's coming to terms with the guy that he is mated to leaves to go and basically get retribution for his dad. And it's so sad, but you see Ox become his own person. He becomes an alpha, a human alpha in this story, and everybody's just amazed by him. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I thought this one was better than the second one, But I plan on reading the last two in 2024 and seeing what I think. And I'm hoping they're like the first one, but it is what it is. I loved this one the best, and yeah, I will be reading more books by TJ Klune because his writing is amazing. And for the number one spot, this is a no duh answer. I absolutely love these books. It's 2 books. They're part of the same series, so I'm just putting them together. And I just got done with the second one last night, and it was just so good. But those books are Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. If you don't know, Fourth Wing has dragons in it. It has a school where they're training these cadets to become fighters in this war that's happening. But nobody knows what this war really is. They think it's against griffins, but little do they know it's against other things. And Fourth Wing was just amazing. Yeah, it was very info dumpy, but for me, I like that in a fantasy. I love getting the information of what the school is like, what the area around it is like, and everything. But if you don't know, this book is about Violet Sorrengail, who has this illness that she got while her mom was pregnant with her. And on conscription day that they have every year, you have to be 20 to enter. And then you have to cross this parapet. And a lot of people die on this parapet crossing it. But Violet obviously makes it across. And she has a lot of enemies because of who her last name is. And her mom is the general. And there's people that were kids of the rebellion people who want to kill Violet. But you enter Daddy Xaden, and love it. Just loved it, and I can't wait for the 3rd book to come out, and I'm so sad I have to wait, because the way Iron Flame left off was crazy. I know some people didn't like it. I loved it. Rebecca Yarros has this way of leaving you on a cliffhanger, making you want to continue the series. And that's how I felt with this book. And there's some romance in it and funny dragon banter, and you can't just... It was so good. I know my opinion is different from other people's, and that's okay. That's the one thing why I love books so much, because everybody can have their own opinion about books, and that's okay. We don't have to argue about it, because it's not things that happen in real life. They're books. They're an author's imagination. And that's the one thing why I love about reading, because it takes you out of the real world, out of your problems that you are having, and puts you into another world, whether it's romance, fantasy, thriller, anything like that. But yeah, those were my top 10 books of 2023. If you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought about them down below in the comments. And let me know if you're doing a top 10 of 2023, and so I can go watch yours and see if our opinions coincide, see if we read some of the same books this year. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like and that subscribe button down below with that notification bell, and you'll know when I am posting. And as always, keep on reading, people. Bye!